We need more stories told by more people, especially from more parts of the world. Little as a few decades, you may not be able to go on pilgrimage to Mecca in Saudi Arabia because it'll just be too hot. I mean, that just changes the whole calculus of what it means to be a believing Muslim in the world. And there are impacts like that everywhere you look, especially around the equatorial band. And the more that we pay attention to those stories, I think, first of all, the more we'll understand the scale and severity of the threat. But also, I hope that it teaches us to regard the rest of the world with more empathy. Because, when I think about the politics that we're living through now and building now, in part in response to this crisis and in part as an outgrowth of it, unfortunately, I worry a lot that we may be retreating into self-interest and nativism, turning away from the needs of others around the world. And Catherine talked beautifully about our kind of common humanity. I think that at the moment, too many people, especially in the West, are defining humanity in a kind of narrow way that allows us to overlook the suffering of all of those elsewhere in the world. And if we really want to come up with some kind of, global solution, it requires, I think, starting from a point of radical empathy and really believing that the fate and life of someone who's living in Bangladesh or Calcutta is just as important as the fate of someone living in Santa Rosa or Paradise. And from there are a lot of complicated questions about exactly how to manage a geopolitics built on that principle. But I think that we need to be doing everything we can to sustain those feelings of empathy and even grow them rather than retreating into narrow definitions of self-interest.